Good morning, dear students. We are going to discuss basal ganglia today. So, basal ganglia, it is nothing but the subcortical mass of gray matter, which is situated in the white matter of cerebral hemisphere. That means within the white matter, the deeply placed collection of gray matter is nothing but the basal ganglia. The function is it helps in coordination of movements. Now, see, this is the part of telencephalon. So, where we have corpus striatum, claustrum, and amygdaloid body. Now, see here the corpus striatum's anatomical subdivisions are we have lentiform nucleus and the caudate nucleus. So, the lentiform nucleus further it is subdivided into globus pallidus, putamen. So, this whole thing is lentiform nucleus. You can see the subdivisions. The globus pallidus, putamen. The globus pallidus is further subdivided into outer segment and inner segment. The functional classification of basal ganglia, where like the corpus striatum has been subdivided into neostriatum and paleostriatum. In neostriatum, we have putamen and caudate nucleus, and in paleostriatum, we have globus pallidus. So you can see this is all basal ganglia where we have the caudate nucleus, isn't it? Then we have lentiform nucleus. Okay. So lentiform nucleus further subdivision is putamen and globus pallidus. So in this picture also you can see like this picture we have already seen when we were doing internal capsule, right? So here we have the thalamus, isn't it? So this is the area of the thalamus. Okay. Then this is caudate nucleus and this is lentiform nucleus, and this V-shaped limb here on either side of this coronal section, you can see this is internal capsule. So here in this picture, we have this is the caudate nucleus, this is the lentiform nucleus. The further subdivisions we have are like we have like globus pallidus and the putamen. Globus pallidus is near midline and putamen is away from midline. So below thalamus also we have subthalamic nuclei of Lewis. Okay, all these are the components of the basal ganglia. Now let us start with caudate nucleus. So this is caudate nucleus, which may sometimes come as a 5 marks question. So caudate nucleus shape, it is green in color for our convenience. We have shown in this color, you can see it is arched band situation along the curvature of lateral ventricle. The outline of blue we already have studied. This is lateral ventricle, and along with that you are finding an arched band, that is the caudate nucleus. The parts of caudate nucleus are it has head, body and tail. Now the head is enlarged anterior end which is bulging into the floor of anterior horn of lateral ventricle. Relations: laterally, it is related to the anterior limb of the internal capsule, lentiform nucleus, then fundus striate, which is connecting caudate to lentiform nucleus. Then body is extending backwards from the level of interventricular foramen along floor of lateral ventricle. The relations medially, it is related to stria terminalis, which are fibers emerging from amygdaloid body to the hypothalamus. We have thalamostriate vein laterally. The body of caudate nucleus is related to fronto-occipital fasciculars and subcallosal body. Now we know this whole complex we have is the lentiform nucleus. In physiology, you have studied it as lenticular nucleus. So actually, this basal ganglia, whether you study in anatomy or physiology, again, the thing is same, like wherever question is asked, you can write whatever you feel is easy. The explanation, whatever is easy, you can write the same matter. Okay. Now you can see here, this lentiform nucleus has been divided into globus pallidus. So the globus pallidus has, this is the outer segment and this is inner segment. Okay. Then we have the putamen. So this is biconvex mass, and relations of this lentiform nucleus. You have laterally it is covered by external capsule. You can see claustrum and insula, which is the hidden lobe. We know hidden fifth lobe is insula. Then medially, you can see this is internal capsule. Above, it is related to the fibers of corona radiata, which will be fanning out from the internal capsule, the ascending and descending tracts. Below, it is related to anterior perforated substance and anterior commissure. Commissure is nothing but connecting fibers between the two cerebral hemispheres. At the level of frontal lobe, you call it as anterior commissure. Okay. Then claustrum. So this claustrum is a thin sheet of gray matter between putamen and insular cortex. So amygdaloid body, this one is amygdaloid. Head, body, tail of caudate nucleus, which is ending in the amygdaloid. So continuous with the tail of caudate nucleus, and it is connected with limbic system. The related structures to the basal ganglia. So whatever has been shown in blue color here are all the components of basal ganglia. So which is nothing but the deeper part of the cerebrum, that is diencephalon. So below the thalamus, we also have subthalamic nucleus or the body of Lewis. This one, the subthalamic nucleus. So which is biconvex mass lateral to red nucleus and dorsolateral to substantia nigra. So zona incerta, see, it is gray matter between thalamus and the subthalamic nucleus. Mesencephalon, that is substantia nigra, we usually see in the cut section of midbrain, right? Red nucleus, reticular nucleus. So substantia nigra is pigmented nerve cells in the midbrain. Now coming to the connections, both caudate nucleus and putamen receive afferents from cerebral cortex, corticostriate fibers from the entire neocortex, thalamostriate fibers from centromedian nucleus of thalamus. Substantia nigra, they reach the striatum after intersecting with the fibers of internal capsule and are called as comb bundles. Okay, so you can see this is all components of basal ganglia, where you are finding the caudate nucleus, putamen, okay, then lenticular nucleus or the lentiform nucleus, globus pallidus, internal and external segment, thalamus, subthalamic nucleus. Here we have pars compacta and pars reticularis as a components of substantia nigra. You can see thalamus, we have discussed much in detail, its various nuclei, and you can see the connections like coming from the cerebral cortex and then going to caudate nucleus, putamen, okay. Then we are also finding it going to the thalamus, different nuclei of the thalamus. So these projections are excitatory projections chiefly. They are having the cholinergic fibers, releasing acetylcholine, afferent connections. Efferents pass to both segments of pallidum as striatopallidal fibers. Okay. Then, so pallidum or globus pallidus, afferents are coming from striatum, striatopallidal projection, then subthalamopallidal projection, then efferents to thalamus via various nuclei, isn't it? Then palladothalamic projections, and we have palladosubthalamic projections. So substantia nigra, afferents are coming from striatum, striatonigral projection, efferents to thalamus, brainstem nucleus, that is the tectum, superior colliculus, through pedunculopontine nucleus. Then pallidofugal fibers. So that is like we have fasciculus lenticularis and ansa lenticularis there, okay, coming from the globus pallidus, okay, to the lenticular nucleus. So thalamic fasciculus. Thalamic fasciculus is nothing but the thalamic bundle, which you can see here, okay. Then pallidothalamic fibers. So we have ansa lenticularis from outer lateral portion of the globus pallidus. Fibers sweep ventromedially and rostrally around the posterior limb of the internal capsule, enters Forel's field H. Okay, then you can see this field of H, Forel's field. Okay, lenticular fasciculus, thalamic fasciculus we have. So the function is modulate the motor activities so that cerebral cortex adjusts the muscle tone and avoids abnormal involuntary movements. Now coming to the blood supply of the basal ganglia, most of the striatum is supplied by perforating branches of middle cerebral artery. Okay, so we have the middle cerebral artery. Then however, rostromedial regions are supplied by perforating branches of anterior cerebral artery. Collectively, these penetrating branches of anterior and middle cerebral arteries are termed as lenticulostriate arteries. Most of the globus pallidus is supplied by anterior choroidal artery, which is a branch of internal carotid artery. Coming to the applied aspects of the basal ganglia, we have, suppose if there is damage to basal ganglia due to the blockage of blood vessels, okay, then it will lead to a clinical condition called as Parkinsonism, where you will see rigidity of the muscles and trembling of head, rigidity and trembling of extremities, forward tilt of trunk as you can see here, reduced arm swinging, shuffling gait with short steps. Okay, so that is Parkinsonism characterized by rigidity. You call this rigidity as cogwheel type of rigidity, tremors, nothing but shivering, masked face, that means no facial expressions, walks with short quick steps, lesions in the globus pallidus and substantia nigra with reduction in dopamine. So treatment, administration of the drug levodopa or surgical destruction of pallidus. So athetosis, slow breathing movements of extremities due to damage of putamen. Then chorea, brisk, jerky, purposeless and graceful movements of distal part of extremities. It is of two types. We have Sydenham's chorea seen in childhood, secondary to rheumatoid. Huntington's chorea, hereditary disorder seen in middle age. We have Wilson's disease, copper metabolism is abnormal, resulting in muscular rigidity, tremors and impairment of voluntary movements. Hemivalismus, wild flail-like movements of one arm caused by degeneration of subthalamic nucleus of opposite side. In continuation, we will also discuss limbic system, the same thing what you have studied in physiology. So limbic system, we will see the definition, anatomical structures, we will see again the connections, afferents and efferents and functions. So the limbic system used to include a group of structures that lie in the border zone between cerebral cortex and the hypothalamus. So limbic system controls behavior, emotion and drive, and also appears to be important for memory. So whatever has been shown here, like in blue color, this is limbic gyrus. Okay, the one which has been shown in yellow color is intralimbic gyrus. Okay, and in the red color, we have fornix and inner arch. So all these are the components of limbic system. So it includes subcallosal gyrus, cingulate gyrus, parahippocampal gyrus, hippocampal formation, amygdaloid nucleus, mammillary bodies and anterior thalamic nucleus. So all these have been shown in different colors over here. So the connecting pathways are alveus, fimbriae, fornix, mammillothalamic tract and stria terminalis. So these are the different sections where you are finding the limbic system. So the different colors have been shown for our convenience. Okay. Then the afferent connections of the hippocampus, they come from cingulate gyrus and pass to hippocampus. Septal nuclei pass posterior in the fornix to hippocampus. One hippocampus pass across the midline to the opposite hippocampus in the commissure of fornix. Indicium griseum pass posteriorly in the longitudinal striae to the hippocampus. Entorhinal area or olfactory associated cortex pass to the hippocampus. Dentate and parahippocampal gyri travel to the hippocampus. Then efferent connections posterior to the anterior commissure to enter the mammillary body end in the medial nucleus, to end in the anterior nucleus of thalamus, to enter the tegmentum of midbrain, to end in the septal nuclei, lateral preoptic area and anterior part of the thalamus. Fibers join the stria medullaris thalami to reach the habenular nuclei. Now coming to the functions of limbic system, it controls the endocrine system, able to influence many aspects of emotional behavior, fear, anger, sexual act, etc., converting recent memory to long-term memory. Integration and effective homeostatic responses to a wide variety of environmental stimuli. So these are all components of limbic system which have different afferent and efferent connections and the functions. Okay. Now, clinical notes on limbic system. There is a clinical condition called as schizophrenia, which includes chronically disordered thinking, blunted affect and emotional withdrawal, paranoid delusions, and auditory hallucinations may be present. Destruction of amygdaloid complex, decreased aggressiveness, emotional instability, restlessness, increased interest in food and hypersexuality, which is Kluver-Bucy syndrome, temporal lobe dysfunction, preceded by an aura of acoustic or olfactory experience, often confused, anxious and docile, may perform automatic and complicated movements, and then have no memory of what occurred previously. Thank you.